Sometimes the most brilliant teaching tools aren't on some flashy new app. Nope. They're hidden away in a dusty, forgotten book. Today, we're going to dive into this absolutely fascinating artifact from 1988 Ethiopia that, believe it or not, holds a powerful secret to learning pretty much any new language. Let's get into it.
But first, let me ask you a question. How do you actually teach someone an entirely new set of characters? I mean, really think about it. It's one of the biggest, most intimidating hurdles in learning a new language, right? You're not just learning new words. You're learning a completely different visual system for sounds. So how on earth do you build a bridge from what someone already knows to something that looks totally alien?
Well, the textbook we're looking at today was designed to solve that exact problem for Amharic speakers who were learning Arabic. And what's so interesting is that these two languages are actually linguistic cousins. They both come from the Semitic language family, but their modern scripts went in totally different directions. Amharic uses the gaze script and reads left to right, while Arabic, well, it uses its own script and reads right to left. So even with that shared ancestry, the visual gap between them is just huge. So how did this one little textbook from 1988 manage to bridge that massive gap? All right, let's open it up and take a look inside.
And here it is, an Arabic tutorial textbook published in Ethiopia way back in 1988. I mean, just look at that cover. You can tell from how worn it is that this isn't just a museum piece. It's a real historical artifact that had a super practical job connecting two cultures, one word at a time.
The second you open it, its purpose is crystal clear. The introduction is laid out, side by side in both Amharic and Arabic. This is brilliant. It immediately says to the learner, hey, I speak your language, I get you, and I'm here to guide you into this new one. It just builds this foundation of trust and understanding from the very first page. But the real genius, the absolute magic of this textbook, is how it demystifies the most intimidating part of any new language, the alphabet. Let's see how it cracks the code. Okay, this right here, this is the heart of the entire system. Forget about rote memorization, just staring at strange new shapes for hours. This chart is a direct translation tool, but not for words. It's for sounds. It takes every single letter of the Arabic alphabet and maps it directly to a phonetic sound that an Amharic speaker already knows like the back of their hand. This amazing technique is called phonetic mapping, and it's an incredibly powerful way to teach. The core idea is just so simple. Don't start with what's foreign, start with what's familiar. By linking a new, strange-looking symbol to a sound that's already in the learner's head, you basically vaporize the biggest barrier of fear and confusion. It's like telling them, hey, you already know how to make this sound. Now you just have to learn a new way to write it down. Let's zoom in and see this in action. Look here, the Arabic letter is ba, and what's it paired with? The Amharic letter ba. The next one, ta, is paired with ta, and jim with ja. See how it works? It's so direct. In an instant, a totally alien symbol becomes a familiar, accessible sound. The Arabic alphabet is no longer a collection of abstract drawings. It's a code that the learner realizes they already have the key for. But the book doesn't just stop there. Oh no. Once the alphabet is unlocked, it shows the learner exactly how to start building actual words step by step. Okay, so here's the next big challenge. In Arabic, the letters are cursive, which means their shape actually changes depending on whether they're at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end of a word. And for a new learner, this can be just unbelievably confusing. But once again, the textbook tackles this with beautiful, systematic clarity. It just breaks the whole problem down into 3 simple, totally manageable chunks. It teaches the distinct shape for each of the 3 key positions a letter can be in: the beginning, the middle, and the end. That's it. First up, the book presents this nice, clean chart of just the initial forms. These are like the starter shapes that kick off a word. By isolating them like this, it lets the student really focus on and master one pattern at a time without getting overwhelmed. Next, it introduces the middle or medial forms, and you can see how these shapes are built to connect from both sides, from the right and the left. They're the little connectors that hold the words together. And again, by showing them as their own distinct set, the book makes the pattern super easy to spot. And finally, step 3, it shows the terminal forms, the shapes that letters take when they're at the very end of a word. So with this simple 1, 2, 3 process, what seemed like this chaotic mess of changing shapes becomes a logical, predictable, and learnable pattern.
Now, this is crucial. The book immediately puts that new knowledge into practice. This vocabulary table for the letter ba shows real Arabic words, but right next to them is a phonetic guide in Amharic script so the learner knows exactly how to pronounce them. And then, finally, it gives the meaning in Amharic. It's a complete learning loop. You go from symbol to sound to meaning, and the whole thing is grounded in the learner's native language. When you step back, you realize this old textbook is about so much more than just Arabic and Amharic. It's really a profound lesson in the power of finding common ground when we're trying to teach or learn anything. At the end of the day, this book isn't just a relic. It's a masterclass in leveraging what a learner already knows. It doesn't treat the student's native language like some kind of obstacle to get over. Instead, it sees it for what it is, the essential bridge to new knowledge. The principles here are so simple, but they're incredibly effective. First, you start with familiar sounds. That's the whole phonetic mapping idea. Then you systematically show the patterns, like the beginning, middle, and end letter shapes. Next, you build vocabulary and context right away so the knowledge feels useful. And most importantly, you use the native language as a bridge, not a barrier. And all this brings us to one final thought. This book from 1988 found the common ground between two totally different scripts by focusing on the one thing they shared, the universal human element of sound. It really makes you wonder, in our modern tech-heavy approaches to education and communication, what common ground are we missing? What existing knowledge in our students or our colleagues or even in ourselves could be the bridge to understanding something completely new?